2018 has reached its final anime stop of the year with the much anticipated fall season. Coming away from the infamous summer drought with few shows of note to speak of, we're back in full swing this autumn with a surplus of great dramas, exciting action, and maybe even some slightly educational experiences. Yes, if anything, this season has offered me some valuable life lessons, such as always look both ways before crossing the street, make sure your friend knows to destroy your computer after you die, and never, ever take on a mission your party is under-leveled for. Like, seriously, my god. Hello everybody, I am Phenom Sage, and I'm here to spread the word that French comics can be made into anime, Doga Kobo continues giving bad shows really good animation, and zombie idols can rap better than most of today's musicians. But above all, I'm here to give the top 5 anime I think you should be watching from fall 2018. My only rules being no sequels, and no continuing series from last season, which excludes a lot of the big stuff like Sword Art Online, JoJo, Index Season 3, etc. Listen, I'm sure they're all great, but it's time to give the new stuff time to shine. And speaking of giving new stuff time to shine, before we get into the top 5 proper, it's time to enter the lightning round and talk about some honorable mentions that are still awesome, but didn't quite make it. Boarding School Juliet is something that I walked in expecting to hate, but walked out of holding a bucket full of good vibes. Our story follows the antics and fights between two rival school gangs known as the Black Dogs and the White Cats. But the leader of the Black Dogs, Romeo, actually has a secret crush on the leader of the White Cats, Juliet. This absolutely original premise leads to surprisingly entertaining and heartwarming moments involving Romeo that gave me heavy school rumble vibes, akin to watching Harima try to confess his feelings to Tenma. And since I really like school rumble, this struck a chord with me and wound up leaving me with a really fuzzy feeling after finishing the first episode. On the topic of fuzzy feelings, another show that stood out to me is Iroduku: The World in Colors, featuring a very irresponsible witch who sends her granddaughter 60 years into the past to meet with her younger self. Are we witnessing the anime equivalent of Back to the Future? Only time will tell. There's no denying that this is one of the most stunning presentations you can find in an anime this season, as expected of the amazingly talented people working at PA Works. However, what really has me interested in this project is the story. We find ourselves wrapped into a very practical imagining of what a world that uses magic would look like, and while the premise is initially jarring in how quickly the plot gets moving, they've still planted the seeds for engaging characters, and specifically watching our main character Hitomi slowly start seeing and appreciating life and the colors in the world should hopefully be emotionally satisfying. Something else I see becoming emotionally satisfying is Production IG's newest series, Run with the Wind. From the very first scene, I was captivated, watching our lead Kakeru on the run after stealing food, leading to a chance meeting with our other lead Haiji, who wants to recruit him for his upcoming track team. Probably not the first thing I would ask a robber, but hey, Haiji has his priorities. What follows is inevitably going to be compared to Production IG's other hit athletic series Haikyuu, down to its pacing, tone, ensemble cast, art style, and character designs, but I see this series separating itself in the future considering the source material is in a seinen magazine as opposed to shonen. Either way, this show will do quite nicely as I endure the painful wait for Haikyuu Season 4. Now that the lightning round has ended, let's get into the top 5 anime I think you should be watching from fall 2018. If there's one thing anime can do, it's make me care about a sport or activity that I wouldn't even have glanced at otherwise. And continuing that trend this season is a sports shonen series by the name of Hinomaru Sumo, which focuses on a teenager named Ushio who has a passion and respect for the art of, you guessed it, sumo wrestling, as he desires to work his way up the ladder and attain the highest rank in the professional world Yokozuna. Going in, you have to realize that this is a sports shonen through and through. You have the upbeat and confident protagonist who never gives up, you have the ultimate goal he's striving for looming in the distance, and you have the supporting cast around him who are inspired and or decide to follow in his footsteps. If that's your cup of tea like it is mine, then you'll find that Sumo excels at all of these things and ends up delivering a simple yet genuine and well done take on these standard shonen tropes. Following Ushio in particular I found very enjoyable, as he's instantly likable, and by the end of the first episode I found myself both rooting for him and cheering him on during his success. There's of course still plenty to prove in regards to story and characters, but what we have so far is a great foundation, and I'd say that it's a safe bet to assume that it will maintain its quality and deliver on the heart-pumping action and uplifting moments that shonen are known for. From a technical standpoint, Studio Gonzo has created a gorgeous looking aesthetic. The painterly line work and overall color palette here are right up my alley and look incredible. Throw in some great direction, solid voice work, and one of my favorite openings from the season, and it definitely seems like they're treating this property and this adaptation with respect. Again, if you enjoy sports shonen to any degree, Hinomaru Sumo is well worth looking into. Talking about well-executed shonen is a great segue into the next series on our list, Karakuri Circus, one of the shows that I was anticipating the most from this fall season. Everything I had seen about this series beforehand spoke to me on a spiritual level. The quirky and retro character designs, the polished Hunter x Hunter art direction, the My Hero Academia composer's soundtrack, or just the awesome idea of basing a battle shonen around the crazy and legitimately scary motifs in a circus, and the idea of users battling each other with puppets. My expectations were sky high, and thus Karakuri had a lot to live up to in my mind, which is why I'm happy to say that it not only delivered on everything I was hoping it would, but it lays the groundwork for what could be the next big thing in shonen. Like most other shonen, and even Hinomaru Sumo earlier on this list, the premiere for Karakuri is very simple but effective in establishing our main cast and getting our bearings for what's going on. Main character Masaru's father has just been killed, and he has been left with a large inheritance, one that, unsurprisingly, an enemy group of puppet wielders want to get their hands on. Unlike Sumo, however, which no matter how over the top it gets, will likely stick to a pretty grounded story about becoming the best at a sport, Karakuri to me has so much more potential with where it could go and how it will develop its world. Right from the get-go, there's an air of mystery surrounding this enemy group of puppet wielders and what they're truly after. Creating a desire to know more is the recipe for a good shonen and just a good series in general. So I hope they continue expanding on the intrigues of this story, and considering the manga is categorized as a mystery, it seems like the chances of that happening are pretty big. The cast has also left a good impression, with Narumi being the standout as just this really lovable personality who's been consistently fun to watch have his own inner monologues, interact with both Masaru and Shirogane, as well as see the lengths he'll go to not only do what he feels is right, but justify it to himself as a selfish endeavor. It's usually hard in the beginning to get a grasp on just how much they'll flesh these kinds of characters out, but with 400 plus chapters of source material to adapt, we are certainly in for a long journey. Idealizing romance is something I think most people can relate to. We watch so many love stories unfold in books, movies, anime, and we start to form our own idea of what it should be and how we should feel. This is the driving theme of our number 3 pick, Bloom Into You. When our main heroine, Yu, is confessed to by a boy in her class, she feels nothing and starts to question if love is really what she thought it was beforehand. It's these feelings that lead her to meet and become closer to her student council president, Toko, another girl who has never felt the spark of love for someone else. What I like most about these two characters is that they don't feel like tropes, and they both respond to their inner plights in different yet realistic ways. Without spoiling anything, the actions they take and how they respond to different things feels natural and reasonable, and never feels like the author is manipulating the audience. This touching story is only elevated by truly stellar direction, which I can only imagine is in part due to the original manga's vision, and in part to the great staff working on the anime. We switch between subdued yet powerful shots that convey a character's feelings without a word, to exaggerated symbolic visuals, such as a surge of water communicating Yu's sense of detachment from her friends who don't care about love the same way she does. It's one of the few series this season where the direction has made a significant impact on my enjoyment of the show, and this quality is only reflected in the others on the staff. The Bloom Into You anime is being written by one of my favorite writers in the anime industry, Juki Hanada, responsible for both Hibike Euphonium and this year's A Place Further Than the Universe. Two masterpieces as far as I'm concerned, and he's already doing a great job on this series as well. Throw in the Full Metal Alchemist composer creating one of my favorite soundtracks this season, and you have an all-star team working on an all-star series. I'm looking forward to more, and I hope some of you give it a chance, because I am in love with this show.
語れない眠れないとろいめないあなたの見てる正体
Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai is spectacular, and that might not be the easiest thing for you to believe after hearing that title, but hey, don't judge the cover, right? Our plot revolves around a girl named Mai, a former actress who should by all accounts be famous and have crowds of people surrounding her at all times. Instead, she has trouble making anyone notice her, to the point where she is invisible to the world other than a single boy, Sakuta. The mystery surrounding this girl will undoubtedly be the selling point and what draws many viewers into checking out the show. However, once I got into it and continued into the following episodes, the true selling point of the series wasn't the mystery of this girl, but rather her character itself and the connection she forms with this boy. They have one of the best personality dynamics I've seen all year, and it's been truly enjoyable to watch them bond and grow closer together. There have already been countless comparisons made to Monogatari, and they are all accurate. The two leads here channel Araragi and Senju Gahara to a T. The dry and sarcastic responses, the shameless and unabashed teasing, it's all here and it's all so good. The dialogue in general is excellently written, which is all the better considering Bunny Girl scenes are almost entirely set around characters talking or Sakuta having internal monologues, again, like Monogatari. What impressed me the most is how seamlessly the writing blends both comedy and drama together, to the point where an initially witty and comedic interaction between characters can turn into an emotional scene on a dime, and have it all flow naturally. It's so easy to create tonal whiplash through writing like that, so I have to applaud the original light novel and the adaptation for handling it so well. There was actually a certain moment during episode 2 where I audibly said to myself, this show is probably gonna make me cry. And I don't think I was wrong in assuming that. I'm shocked at how quickly this series has endeared me to these characters and how much I find myself caring about their relationship. Seriously, Bunny Girl Senpai is amazing and a must-watch of the fall season. These two would have carried it to the #1 spot if it wasn't for one other series.
目を覚ませ僕らの世界が何者かに侵略されてるぞ
If I had to summarize my feelings toward SSSS.Gridman in one word, beyond the many I could use such as ecstatic, intrigued, or simply just satisfied, I think the word I would choose is mesmerized. A feeling of complete captivation that I haven't felt from a show often this entire year. A feeling that I find quite hard to explain when I really get down to it. On the surface, this appeared to many, including myself, to be a simple mecha series based on a 90s live-action television show. Of course, you have acclaimed Studio Trigger behind the project, as well as some absolute men of culture on the staff, so there was definitely some hype behind it, but nothing that would actually prepare me for the show itself. From scene 1, it felt like Gridman was in a league all its own compared to the other anime I watched this season. The direction, sound design, pacing, shot composition, and dialogue all gave me the impression that I was watching a movie. Down to the opening shot where we see one of the main characters, Akane, gazing up into the sky as the title of the series slowly fades into view. These aspects are things that go understated throughout a show, especially by casual anime watchers, but they make such a difference in conveying tone and atmosphere, and are a large part in what sucked me into these beginning episodes. In general, I get the sense that director Akira Amamiya is experimenting in unorthodox and even just straight up weird ways of communicating this story. There's a charm to it though, and that charm is exuded throughout both episodes I watched. The presentation of the story doesn't even speak for the story itself, however. Just within the 2 episodes I've watched so far, there's been satisfying reveals and great foreshadowing to future events. Gridman admittedly starts out on the same foot as many other science fiction shows do. Our star Yuta has lost his memories of who he was before and wakes to hear the being known as Gridman calling him to fulfill his destiny. Now, while so many will roll their eyes at another case of amnesia, I've actually really dug how it's handled here. It's not in the forefront and has actually had little importance in the story thus far, but when it is brought up, the feeling of existing as a person you don't even know is communicated well through the dialogue with Yuta and his friends. In fact, the dialogue in general has all felt great so far, and carries with it all of the personality and expressiveness that Trigger are known for. Akane in particular is a joy to watch in every scene she's involved in, and I look forward to seeing where her character goes in particular. Out of all the questions and mysteries posed in Gridman so far, the one that I have the most trouble understanding is why does this show have such a low score on my anime list? What happened? I'm scared that this is potentially turning people away from giving a great show a chance. My only answer here is much like last fall's Hoseki no Kuni, the CG is what's turning people off, despite the fact that that CG is actually being well handled and is elevated by great direction, so yeah, who knows. I ask this of you all. Please give Gridman a chance, and if you enjoy it, spread the word so more people can enjoy this great series, because it is the #1 show I recommend from fall 2018. Pretty good top 5, right? What? You're saying it's a garbage list because I didn't include... Well, darn! I guess you guys are gonna have to fix this list by putting your favorite shows from this season in the comments below. But hey, if you did enjoy this list or ended up enjoying a recommendation you got here, I would really appreciate it if you liked the video, and make sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my videos like this in the future. And if you'd like to talk to me someplace else, you can join my Discord or follow me on Twitter since I'm on both pretty much all the time. Links will be in the description, and of course, as usual, have a great day.